Welcome to SwitchCorner, my name is Alex and today we're taking a look at Nobody Saves the World on the Nintendo Switch. Now it comes from the team of Guacamelee. They are a team now known for flexing their creativity, but does that trend continue with this new IP? Well, hit subscribe and join us here on SwitchCorner for reviews and deals near daily, and let's get started. Opening the game then, you are titled Nobody, a pale figure, and you awake on what is a strange island. While very little is known or revealed about this character, you quickly learn a wizard of sorts has gone missing, and he is needed to stop what is known as the Great Calamity. Now on meeting a couple of locals, a wand falls into your possession, and now it's out to save the day. The idea: collect shards that will help in defeating the Calamity and then help the locals with side quests and those even driving towards a solution to the Calamity. Of course, then along the way uncover the wizard's whereabouts as well. It's not particularly story heavy, but it still manages to push things forward, all while packing a solid sense of humour as well. So as we go into gameplay, I want to put it up front here. I originally played this on the Xbox. In fact, I reviewed it on Xbox Corner. I find that linked in the pinned comment down below. But this will be a bit more of a performance style review today, as I'm around actually the halfway mark of the Switch build. I just kind of wanted to see how it all came together and if they could get the performance to where it needed to be. At its core, Nobody Saves the World then, it's a spin on the action RPG world. Instead of paying a particular focus to inventory management though, this one it's paying a focus towards completing main quest lines and character specific challenges. While I say characters there as well, the main spin of Nobody is, it's basically the fact your wand grants you the ability to transform into a number of different forms. These are all going to be playable characters. This is not your usual cast either. Some early examples include a rat, knight, turtle, horse, and yeah, it just kind of gets wilder from there. The strangest of them all, it has to be the egg. The combat for each character though definitely gonna be different as you go from one character to another. You know, it's not just gonna be either ranged or melee attacks. Think here, the horse, which needs you to be facing away from your opponent so you can back kick them, or the slug. The slug has the ability to fire, but there's going to be a brief moment of warm up, so yes, it provides some range, but you've got to be strategic about where you use it. The combat though, generally it is incredibly simple with its, inputs, but it will expand with progression. But then even having just that ability to jump from character to character, it makes for a nice amount of variety. As you do level up your character then as well, you'll be able to inherit skills from other, let's say, classes. You'll even upgrade the skill set you have with new signatures that will deal more damage. You'll also then alongside this be managing mana. That is simple enough, attack to regenerate it, and it essentially leads to the option of a heavy attack that does of course have that cooldown until you've recharged the meter. The mixing and matching with skills though, it will be important, and that's because the game often plays with an almost class-like system. Think the knight whose attacks deal sharp damage, or the rat that will poison. The main reason this is so important is because enemies after the first few hours, they will often have a shield of sorts, and you can only defeat that shield with a specific attack type. It's going to be demonstrated on screen by a handy icon above your opponent's head. So yeah, get used to that quick switching between characters and get used to what each character does, because that's going to be a big part of your success. What this all achieves though for these different characters, because there's a huge amount in here, they feel fun, they feel necessary to the gameplay over simply being a gimmick, which it could have very easily been. You'll even then chase down different challenges to level up that specific transformation. They typically start with like kill X amount of enemies, but from here they get a little bit more creative but also character specific. Beat them though, level up that class, level up Nobody at the same time, and then eventually earn a star. These stars are your main path forward. They will unlock the fairy dungeons, and the dungeons of course contain the needed shards. One thing I didn't like with the experience with the characters specifically, it's the character selection. You can use a quick access wheel with the push of a trigger, but it's often asking you to jump into the main menus to achieve this, and with so many characters, I felt like I was in these menus just a little bit too often, and I had to kind of pause the action consistently and select that next hero. Just kind of slowed down the game a little bit. Outside of the main quest line, then you can expect a whole host of side quests, including not only the local population, but even guilds. It's for sure a game that will have you grinding at times, there's no question about it, as you try to level up to be at the desired point in your battle readiness. But yeah, it's still absolutely worth it just because you'll have a blast with the combat. It also gives you a chance to experiment with these different crossovers of characters. The inventory system then was what really caught me off guard. There's really no sort of tracking system in here. Look, sure, you collect the occasional, peace thinker key and upgrade token cash, maybe one of those stars, but everything else is pretty much instantly applied to your character. So think like buffers, new challenges, even your health. You connect with an item in the world, like it or not, it's going to be applied to your character immediately, even if you do not need it. Quite like that though, it proves both to deliver a faster sense of success, but also it makes you locked in on the world around you. What I mean by this then as well is, think you're about to die to an enemy. Time to go find some health in this world in one of the many destructible environmental pieces. While it is open world as well and looks cartoonish in its style, do not let that deceive you. You don't want to just run to an unknown area too quickly. Why would you not want to? Because, well, each enemy has a level above their head, and on more than a few occasions I discovered enemies that were far beyond my reach, and they destroyed me in seconds. For the genre as well, then I'd even say it's on the shorter side, but you're going to get a good still 15 to 20 hours of gameplay that first time around, and it even has some built-in achievements to chase after, should you want to be jumping back in for a second playthrough. The game's real focus overall here though, manage your cast, match them to the scenario, and also then balance out that character progression so you can match these different enemy types without too much concern. You'll also need different types to often progress through the environment itself. Think like small gaps, the only way you're going to be traversing this location is with the rat character. So yeah, it's a really smart design and it uses these different characters constantly, but it's never just telling you what to do, it leaves that creativity up to you, so you very much need to figure out the solution yourself. The world are then finally decent size as well, so I'm happy to say here it includes fast travel as you begin to open up more and more locations, and while of course it demands you visit them on foot at least once, definitely a welcome addition to keep the speed of the game moving forwards. So problems then, that map, it can also be a little over the top with symbols at times, and there's not always text accompanying them to explain what they are. Also, the enemy count is impressive at points. It gets overwhelming though, and it can be a little difficult to actually track what is happening on screen, so you may find you'll be mashing that attack button while monitoring your health bar in the top left of the screen, just hoping that you don't die. Overall for gameplay though, like Drinkbox Studios, they continue to impress. Guacamelee was a masterpiece. This one, it's another impressive creative IP that deserves all of the attention. For those that want multiplayer too, it packs drop-in and out local 2-player as well as online play. Visually then, coming from the Xbox build, I naturally knew we would lose the 4K resolution, but I'm impressed with just how good this one still looks, especially if you're playing handheld on the OLEDs. From what I can tell, no corners have really been cut, the resolution, it's consistent, and the character and the world design, just honestly fantastic. Just all incredibly sharp as well, like that image, and detailed. And yeah, again, this goes for handheld as well. The only drop I really noticed, the blur around the edge of the screen that I've always taken as being stylistic. It's a little bit more pronounced, and then you can particularly notice it over the numbers denoting, your star count and upgrade points in the upper right of the screen. Cutscenes then finally top it off, and while there's not a huge amount of them in here, there's some fun dialogue moments with some really creative character designs as well. Audio then, and I love the soundtrack with this one. In fact, the music in today's video, it's taken directly from the game, as they gave creators the opportunity to use it in videos, which is always appreciated. The sound effects are minimal then, you know, weapons, attacks, some like very minor location pieces, but definitely come here for this one for its comical but still epic sounding score, and you will not be disappointed. So the final verdict, and again, like, it's been a busy week for big games, so I want to be transparent around the playtime here. I reached around the halfway point of the experience, but so far there's not a single reason for me to be, you know, concerned about anything on offer here. It runs great, the frame rate is as smooth as they come, the graphics look crisp without cutbacks, and the story then, sure, like, it's nothing too out there, but the world and the characters, they're nothing short of fantastic. I do think though, Drinkbox, they're one of the most exciting studios out there, and like Guacamelee before it, it's another winner, and I'm sticking with my Xbox Corner score today, a great 8 out of 10. It's not a perfect game, but the few issues it has, you know, over reliance on menus, they're issues which once you're into it, they are relatively easy to forgive. Will you be adding this one to the library then, or holding onto that cash? A shout out then to the patrons of the channel who are going above and beyond to support SwitchCorner. It helps more than you know, so thank you all so much. Then hit subscribe if you love the Switch, as much as we would do here. Join our growing family, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.